Hi there, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Pillars of Eternity. We have finally cleared White Marsh, part 1 and 2. We have quite a few... That's delightful. We have quite a few... Can't even remember what I wanted to say. Quite a few other things. Let's see what we need to do. I want to take today to finish up all the side quests. So from here we are going to there and hope that we have enough standing with Twin Elms to actually convince this chick not to kill the other guys. If not, fuck it. Okay. Can't exalted hand, defensive and weakened attacks. I put the new boots. Yes, I put the new boots on here. Look, it's grass. No, it's not here that I want to be. Maybe there. I'm so excited to be out of the White Marsh. I should have done it earlier though. Because all the weapons, the bound weapons I got there, there's no time to actually level them up now. Those two. I have to do quests with them.
What brings you here?
An elven woman stands beside the stag, putting the great beast on its, patting the great beast on its neck. As you approach, the animal jerks its head in your direction and the rest peers up. Stillness, the woman orders the stag, pulling on the skin of the stag's neck until it ceases to buck. Easy now, no need to fight yet. She turns to face you. One ear is missing its top half, and many battle scars raise her otherwise smooth skin. More foreigners, more unclean feet trampled on our lands, more blood to feed the trees. She shakes her head. You should not be here, Estramore. Her hands move to the several blades strapped to her hips. If you are here in our land, it is either to steal from us or to aid those who would. She gestures to the north, at the ruins and with the blood protruding from the underbush. Dyrwooden mercenaries, looters, can you hear their panicking whispers? Leave this place at once, or we will kill you when we finish these instruments. I'm a friend of your Glanfathans. She holds her gaze on you. The great stag stomps in front, its front hooves on the ground, and turns to its master. Do you speak the truth, foreigner? If you are indeed a friend, you would respect our lands and not defile our sacred soil with your trespass. The woman clenches her jaw. Its muscles quiver under the pressure until suddenly calm returns to her expression. If you have no bonds of kin or kith with the looters, I will give you a chance to prove it. She draws one of her swords with a swift arching motion, pointing it towards the ruins. The invaders must be purged from our lands. Prove your worth, and we will believe your words. Tell me about the mercenaries. Raiders, looters, same as all of the other Dyrwooden thieves that pillage our lands. The woman touched the oblique stub where half of her ear used to be. We tracked the Dyrwoodens from the first step to beyond the great river and waited for them there. They always do. We claimed half the pack in the first assault. The crowds that ran now huddled in the north. We would when the wind turns, you will smell their fear. If they surrender, will you let them live? Benevolent. Why do I still not have Twin Elms +3? And resolve. I don't fucking have resolve. Ay, ay, ay. Resolve 13. Twin Elms ally, faintly good. The fangs friend somewhat good. So if my resolve is 13. If I play, I need 19. Perception. Well, here's one resolve. Perception. There's 4 resolve. There's 2 resolve. So putting those on. Sets my resolve. Why? That should be 19. Resolve +1. So it doesn't stack that way. Okay. So we have the 4. Then do we have a potion or something? How do we craft? Crafting. Oh, I don't care about craft. Here's deflection, reflex, endurance, movement speed. Perception, might, endurance, concentration. I think if dexterity, dragon meat, a dragon egg. Okay, wait. Copperland Defiance Bay.
Hail, traveler.
Show me a weird dragon egg. Dragon meat. Thank you. Awesome. You're of great help. Now the question is, let's eat one. Okay. Oh, eat it. Haha, it shows. Okay.
Hey there.
Not as beautiful as the Angwithan ruins near my home, but your fortress is impressive in its own little way.
Okay. How long does it last?
Yeah? Mm-hmm.
Eat that bitch.
Hey there.
Estramore.
If they surrender, would you? Yes, okay. Resolve. Because you saw where they crawl, the fangs deserve better foes than these wounded animals. Send them home with the grave warnings of their kin. The woman gazes north, her mouth towards the skull, and she ponders your words. The great stag nudges her shoulder, and she reaches up to scratch the animal's chin. Blood was spilled, and life sprouts from a soaked ground. She looks at you with a cold glare, mutters a curse under her breath, and sees her blade. We will let the raiders return headless. The leaders must pay for their crimes. Only then may the rest go free. She waves her hand in north and go deliver a message before I see the folly and the decision. Do you wish the leader dead? Just ignoring your statement, her arms closed. Do you wish their leader dead? We wish their leader to be an example to the others. Sever his head, his freedom, or his family, whichever will best warn others not to trespass on our lands.
Hey.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now I can put my dexterity plus back, but now I have a question. Dexterity 16. Oh, it's not the dexterity plus. I fucked up.
Sure.
Stop, friend or foe. The man in his blood-soaked armor points his blade at you. As his wounds weary, comrades flock into position behind him. Calm down, I'm a friend. Sword pointing at you, the man gives you a sideways glance, and his companions and nods. The mercenaries lower their weapon, a rare and welcome sight. Friends this far from hope. He lets weight of his sword lower his arm. He gives a concerned look to his mercenary company. Look at us, hiding in the rocks and holding in our guts. He points south. The fangs, they've bloodied us, and now we're trapped. Gonna send me, what happened? Resourceful call. The captain halves a chuckle before returning to his humorless frown. We assume the Glanfathans killed her before coming up on us. I'm relieved she's alive, doubly relieved she brought help. He raised his sword, still caked with blood, across his shoulder. The tribesmen ambushed us just as we made camp. The fight was a lopsided slaughter. Desmond stares at the field and finishes the thought. In the melee, someone tripped through the campfire. We were lucky in that regard. The stench of burning flesh and the choking smoke obscured the scene, and a few of us managed to withdraw. We ran to these ruins to regroup, but now we're trapped. The face painters are just south of our position, and they have us cornered. No doubt they're happy to let us starve while they rest and build their strength before attacking anew. His left hand idly toys with a locket worn around his neck. Seems this is where we will be making our stand, he mutters as he clenches his corner. I promise the fangs to let you go, but you must bear the punishment for trespassing and be taken prisoner. Esmond blinks and arches his eyebrows and smiles. Well, if anyone could have, I suppose it would be you, but creases around his eyes deepen with his greying frown. He looks at his locket and then lifts his eyes back at your prisoner. If it's the only way to save my men, I'll endure it, but whose prisoner? I'll have room in the stronghold to take you on as a prisoner. You will be treated well. You will hold me prisoner, and that will satisfy them. He takes a half stride back and looks you up and down. So be it. I am more than willing to be held hostage. If it means we all get home safe, I'm sure you will have to keep me as a proper captive to honor the arrangement, but I understand it's far better than being the Fangs prisoner. Captain turns to with each of the soldiers stay back, pale with fear. Esmond takes a deep breath here, then raises his fist in the air. New orders, you are to fall back. The expedition is over. Stow your gear and make for Defiance Bay at once. The mercenaries exchange glances with each other, waiting for the first one to obey the command. Are you deaf? I won't tell you again. Time to go. Now. As my booming voice springs the reluctant mercenaries into action. Wounds are dressed on one last time. Camping gear is secured, and within minutes the men set off with their march, nodding at their leader and acknowledgement as they pass.
Keeping an eye out.
There is another quest done. They all safely moved to penetration in the southern edge of the North Pole. Their blood hands all buried on the ways of her village. Watches you approaching with. You did it, her dimple frame with a beaming smile. She lets you a sigh of relief and wags her finger at you. You'll be chanting your name back in that gift. Everyone will know what you've done for us, I promise. I realize Osma will need to be your prisoner if we have to honor agreement and not odd arrangement, but I'll save the expedition. She shrugs and gives you a sly smile. Besides, I'm sure your dungeon is far more enjoyable than whatever the fangs do with their prisoners. She scratches her cleft chin with a free hand and gives you a measuring look. But you're the type to deserve more than just a praise. Coin weaponry, she rubs her gloves of vigor. Or if anything, nothing is tangible to Fuji, I'll gladly share my skill. With a nod, I was hoping you'd say that. She removes the gloves from her hand, stowing them in the back pocket. When you spend as much time as I do in the ring, you learn to strike first. You strike without warning. She holds her stock on the front, a parallel blade to the ground. The key is efficiently to movement. Dungeon delver. Okay. Place all your weight on the final step. When you ready your strike, she yells from the emphasis as she demonstrates a swift, silent lunge. If you follow her example, she nods in satisfaction. I think you've got the grasp of it. I'm honored I could teach you something new. She half curtsies and turns to take her leave. As my watches back on disappear into the thicker foliage, he turns to face you. I'm ready, I think. He unwraps the locket from his hands and ties it around his neck. At least some of my men are leaving Glanfathans alive. Okay.
Hey there.
What am I supposed to do with this skill? Whatever.
Yeah?
That is one more quest done. Okay. Delka ought to travel with me after I mentioned that I'm a watcher and I'm returning to the village where she was captured. I'm not sure what she's after. Got here as well. That's a bug quest. Bug a day. Grieving mother and
Hey there.
let's go do the siege. Do we go do the siege? No, let's just get this shit over with.
Sure.
Back to warm your hands, eh? What can I do for you? Top quality bear.
May Wal watch your step.
Right here?
What is she? I'm not mistaken, she's a rogue? First level else, a rogue. What the fuck is she doing with a spear if she's a rogue? Yeah, we'll sort that out. Vicious fighting. Vicious fighting. I like passives. Viewpoint. Don't have another choice. Commanding positioning. Whenever a rogue is contributing to with a flank deflection on a target, a victim is also distracted. Adept evasion. With incoming greater converted to misses. Oh shit. Would have made a better archer. I'm gonna put her into crossbows. Wait a minute. What's that thing? Crossbow two-hander. There it is. Next offensive. Arbalists. Hunting bow. Scepter. Here's the crossbow. Crossbow, sword. Sword and crossbow. Okay, cool. And then she also needs to go into two-weapon fighting. Throwing strike. Weaken, accuracy, fortitude, fearsome strike. Man, I'm really not going to spend too much time on her. And then she needs two-weapon fighting style. No. Because she's not going to use that, she's going to be marksman. On death blows. Offensive. Volatile war game. I sit saber stiletto. Okay. First two-weapon fighting. More passives. There we go. And then we can go for the one of the stilettos. Okay. So this is yours. Where's she? That's a stiletto. I don't think I've got another stiletto. I think the only other stiletto is on me, which she can have because I'm not using those. Okay, she can't wear armor. Okay. Accuracy. Accuracy. I don't even know why I'm kidding her out. I'm really not gonna. I'm just gonna do her. What's that thing called? It's a companion quest. Not interested at all in her as a character. Boots. Kill 3 enemies with strong souls. This is everything by golden undeads. Kill 15 enemies with twins.
Hey there.
Where is she?
Right here.
Keep an eye on the devil Caroc. The devil Caroc also travel with me. I mentioned the watch. I'm not sure what.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Back to warm your hand.
You got the look of someone with his teeth around a secret.
Her cold fingers are locked around your arm. Her black eyes.
Glad I'm not the only one who knows not to trust your kind, Watcher. You do well not to trust hers.
You all right? I won't serve you if you're already drunk, you know.
Okay, well.
Uh-huh. Didn't think there was anything more than lice and hoarfrost to these folk, but you had a look back there. What do you find when you're rooting around like that?
You seem rather interested in these villages all of a sudden. Why?
Mayhap I'm looking for someone. Woodcutter by the name of Harmka.
Tell me you want Harmka.
So I can kill him. Wrap my fingers around his throat till he's as cold as his wretched village.
Fingers tighten into fist, the metal squealing and rattling.
He was one of them. The mob that destroyed Cold Morn. I tracked him to Stalwart years ago, but got caught before I could finish my business.
Dark iridescent rolls appear and fade on her chest plate. Heat ripples from her metal carapace. Sounds like there's more to it. This one's personal for you.
This man, Harmka. I saw him outside my house the night it burned, staring into the flames the way I seen you stare into souls. I knew it were a fool's errand trying to hunt down every man and woman that carried a torch into Cold Morn, but if I knew I got the one responsible for my kin and my hearth, I might could rest easy.
How can you be so sure this officer?
I took a good long look that night. Ours was a little place with a yellow door right on the edge of town. He was there. Besides, I asked around when I first got to Stalwart. Townsfolk said that all the woodcutters in town took part in the purge. Point of pride for them.
What does this have to do with me?
I told you he was part of the mob. I spotted him watching my house when it burned. But when we find him, I want to know if he's the one responsible for my home, my parents, and my brothers and sister.
One of her thumbs rubs absently at a scratch on her head.
I never thought I'd have the chance to know for sure. But you could look into his soul and find out. You being a watcher and all.
My God, might be getting your hopes up. How would you feel about a solid hunch instead? I'll do what I
Mighty
can.
fine of you. Mighty fine indeed.
She nods again, her head bobbing along the drowsy.
Don't know where he dallies these days, but someone in Stalwart could tell us. People from little villages, they always know.
Calvina said you murdered several people before you trounced you. Okay, that's all.
Sure. Hey there.
Didn't think I'd miss this place. Had that much right.
Woodcutters. Interesting how I remember that big chin and those knobbly knees. He stopped staring motionless at the figure among the trees. The big chin and knobbly knees can't be too many people matching that.
How goes?
The other man emerges into the clearing and freezes. Staring at the devil cry for an elf, he's tall and rangy, with a weather-beaten face beneath stringy, greasy hair. The others with him turn, glaring and gaping at the bronze.
Caroc Shadow! What's that wicked thing doing here?
Uncle swallows a lump bobbing in his neck. Why so nervous?
It's a killer! Look, we don't want no trouble. Just trying to do our work.
Beads of sweat have formed on his forehead despite the chilly
We'd be much obliged if you'd leave us be. And take that thing with you.
He looks at the devil with a mixture of terror and loathing. Enough, what do you see? Is that the man who torched us? The devil sways on her feet. Give the man so. He steps away from him, but your awareness reaches through the trembling skin and the feeble resistance of his fear. You see memories, snow-shrouded forest, but partitioned by fallen pines and firs. Days measured by the steady swing of your axe. There are other moments to all recollection that flare up with a hearth, welcoming fire. There are children, spry and lanky like you, but still full of rowdy energy, youth. Together you scatter winter bloom, petals on graves. You reach deep into jungle cell. Years roll back, a torch in your left hand and bathes your face and shoulders in heat. All around you are other men and women holding other torches, and the mountain air is acrid with a stench of smoke and sweat. Rage bellows of the others. It's been a fever in your blood for days now, exhausting you and invigorating you in equal measure. You're at the edge of the town called Morn. It's hours yet before dawn, but the commotion has started to awaken the village. Candlelight ignites behind frost-crusted windows, and haunted faces peer out at you through the glass. You begin to doubt yourself. Just then, the door slams. A villager comes racing through the trees, kicking up snow with his stark face and pale hair. He looks almost like a ghost. The line of torchbearers ripples as he gets closer. He picks up speed, but nobody moves towards him. You imagine him breaking through the row, shattering your ranks like the bad dream that brought you here, or you all here. You imagine waking up in your bed, the heat from your torch, nothing more than the warmth of your wife sleeping next to you. Instead, the village reaches the row of the torchbearers, a stone throw away from you. A woman advances from the line and buries her dagger in his neck. The rest of your fellows shout rage, memory, and bloodthirsty triumph boil up in you. You all came with a purpose. You came to bring justice to the traitor of Cold Morn. The next few hours are painted in colors more vivid than life. You put your torch to anything that stands and your sword to anyone who runs. It is if Margaret herself whispers in your ear and guides your hand. Exhaustion has almost cooled your rage when you spy a house at the edge of town. One of the only buildings that hasn't already burned. It's flanked by knotty spruce trees, and the door is painted yellow. Yellow, the bloom of sunrise, the hue of a sun's hair, the color of cowardice. Just then, someone barrels into you from behind. It's a man, someone you remember from the journey to Coldmorn. Though you can't recall his name, he snarls at you, mad with indiscriminate rage, and it occurs to you that he has mistaken you for one of the villagers. You smash the window and hold your torch inside. The other man has turned away. You think you hear a child shriek within the house, but it's impossible to tell above the roar of the riot. Honka shivers as you pull away from the memory. His eyes are wide and with guilt and fear. Spit it out. What did you see? He burned down your house. He's not responsible for what happened to your family. She stares at Honka. You hear only a whirring mechanism in her throat, but Honka relents.
What did you say?
What did it feel like? Like the torch in your hand, the blade you carried. What did it feel like? A wail in your main scream echoes out of the bizarre machinery of her throat. It drops Amka and his companions to their knees with a cry out in terror. Gears squeal and crank as she rushes at him.
teach you a lesson!
Just like
Sure.
right here. Almost 15 years I've been looking for him.
She stares ahead as you approach, and the black marbles of her eyes fixed on some distant point as her essence swells and dissolves in the threads of contemplation.
All that fretting and wondering. And the deed's over in less time than it takes to tell.
How do you feel now? She says nothing at first to you, and you hear only the dull clicking of something in her
I killed a lot of folk in my time. Felt their blood slick in my hands, smelled their flesh as it burned.
She holds her hands in the front of her, and they twitch and spasm.
And I always used to imagine what it would be like to have Harmka under my knife, feeling his breath come hot and fast, smelling the fear ooze out of him. Couldn't feel a thing. His fading pulse weren't no more than a powder of rain to me.
What do you mean?
This body, it weren't made for feeling. Gouging my fingers into Harmka's wasting flesh, his screams just buzzing in my skull.
She flexes and unflexes her fingers in a few lightning quick motions.
All it did was remind me that this is a madman's fever dream. Like a prison, but no, 'cause in a prison, you lay your head down and you feel the straw soft beneath you. Your flesh prickling in the cold, black bread crumbling on your tongue.
After 13 years, can you get used to it?
I still dream I'm folk. I wake up some mornings wondering why I can't feel the floor beneath me, thinking I must have fallen and gone crippled. But then I lift my head, see a bronze corpse stretching out in front of me. I dream too of what Galvino did that night. Those moments. I'd endure another cold morn if it'd spare me this fate. It was after I got caught in Stalwart. They'd locked me in a little house by the inn, the old mayor and his cronies. When a crowd of them came for me in the dark of night, I was only surprised it had taken them so long. Only they didn't march me to no gallows. No, they snuck me to another house on the edge of town, real sneaky-like. That's where I met Galvino. He was fiddling with some machinery in his workshop. Had his sleeves rolled up, even though it was cold enough to see your breath. Never actually looked at me until he started fitting some copper helmet over my head. By that time, the mayor's goons had me trussed up good and tight. Galvino was having himself a grand time barking orders at that lot. So while Galvino's fastening that helmet over my head and them copper bands around my arms, I'm starting to look at his contraption. And that's when I see it. It's this metal suit strapped into the machine just like me. A cold, dead-eyed thing, all done up with fancy carvings and such. The one. I start asking Galvino and the rest of them what's going on, but they're too busy to answer. Then suddenly, they're waiting, staring at me with that fixed, horrified look. But they ain't watching me. They're watching for something to happen. Galvino tells the woman nearest the machine to flip the handle. And then, just pain. Being torn apart every which way, feeling my soul peeled from my body. By the time I came to, I couldn't feel a thing. Just this dull, distant sort of ache.
The old man cackling and chattering when I saw him looming over me, looking down at me with hungry eyes. I tried to scream, tried to swing at him.
I think that was when I knew. Sure enough, and how Galvino ended up in that little shack. The rest of Stalwart didn't take kindly to having a killer in their midst, nor to seeing their mayor and the ornery Valians strike a secret deal. They drove Galvino out, destroyed a fortune in machinery, and wrote a letter to the Academy in Salona, ruining what was left of his name. Still, he's lucky he didn't get a pelting. The old mayor fled too, and Stalwart's been as snug and cheery as ever.
Now that we've dealt with Honka, why have you stuck around?
You're better company than Galvino. Been a while since I were out in the world. Guess I'm keen on seeing more of it. Even if I'm stuck with a bleeding heart. Anyways, I've been wondering about that fortress.
Duncan's battery, what about it?
Near everyone thought it'd have just the thing they need. Those villagers wanted to fix up their brook downtown. Galvino always thought it carried some great secret of animanson. And all them adventurers came looking for fancy gear. I don't know. Something to help me feel. Or forget. Effigy's eyes, maybe just something new. I just figured, with those dwarves being expert smiths and all, maybe they had something to unmake me. Put me back into my body.
I didn't see anything like that in
I
Dyrwooden.
know, it were just a passing fancy.
Hey there.
Oh, not again.
Yeah?
Back to warm your hands, eh? Top quality bear.
If you say so.
Mm-hmm.
Your mind comes bearing question.
You just meant a watcher when we met. Do you know what a watcher is? There's a slow chill, and for a moment it seems as if she's going to fade from your vision, as if she can't bear to
The
be seen.
title came unbidden. I do not know why I spoke of it. Yet it seemed the right mantle, a familiar one.
Yet I do not know from where it came. If I have given offense. Oddly enough, it feels like she's not speaking to you. It feels like she's speaking to an audience. The air takes on a curious edge, a chill which persists for a short moment, then fades into a dull fear. If I have given offense, forgive me. You know you would know more than I. Have you encountered watchers before? I do not know. It is not old. It's not an old feeling. I do not know where it stems from. It was a word that arose when you saw me. It is said watchers see much that others do not, and I have been hiding. I've been hidden from the eyes of others for some time. Let me ask you about something else. How is it no one can see you?
Their eyes see me, but their minds will not remember past the call. My face is like the call of a newborn, hiding the face beneath. And for my body, I am able to wrap myself as a mother cradling her child. I am here, as you see me, but to them, their eyes see only the cloak that I wear, a peasant mother, dirty, shabby, not worth knowing. As a watcher, you see more than others. To the eyes of most, I am as unseen as the spirits you share memories with.
How are you able to affect minds? Elevate to the flow of their senses down a different path, to a place easily forgotten. It is not unwelcome when one does not desire the presence of others. The surface of their minds register a figure, but the memory slips away. They see a woman, but there is no desire for conversation, no desire for any question, and I have none to ask. I wanted to ask something different. When you first met, how was I able to enter your dream?
I do not know. What do you speak of? If you were in my thoughts, I could not feel your presence, nor do I know what you saw there.
As she speaks, you suddenly feel an odd sensation in your mind, like the blood of a hunt welling up in you. You suddenly realize that whether she permits it or not, you could enter her dream and observe it without her ever knowing. There is something about her mind like a weapons rack, where you could reach in and draw forth a blade if you wished and keep it as your own. And suddenly you find yourself back in your present thoughts. Though you were away for but a moment, she seems unaware of a diversion of thought. It may be one of your gifts, the ability to walk in memories as easily as someone walks upon the ground. I want to see your memories again. You feel a slowly nod, though she makes no motion. My mind is open to you, as it was before when we met. I could not stop you if I wished. As long as you don't mind if I try, I shall do so. My memory is not as it was. Much has been forgotten. If you would walk in my thoughts, I have nothing hidden. Her thoughts feel strangely apologetic and welcoming both at once. Perhaps you may learn something that will strengthen you, or a clue to what has caused this terrible burning of the fields of souls and halted brass wheel. Her mind gives way. Your passage almost unnoticed as you enter her as before, circling the memory you shared when you first met. And suddenly you are on a plateau, almost the height of a tower, several stories high. The plateau is like a table laying beneath a clear sky, and beneath the plateau surrounding it in all directions a forest hazy with mist, although whether it is actual mist or distance or recollection. Resting in the curve of the natural arch above you is a great copper bell, half again the size of a man, hanging at attention, as if looking down on you, and the event unfolding before you. The plateau has soaked in the sun, and the rock beneath you is rough and warm. The sky forms a cradle around you. You feel different, not disembodied, but you feel your body. Your physical contours have changed along with the surroundings. And you hear a soft series of chimes, like wind chimes. At the sound, the scenes gain color and textures, as if the sound is beckoning you gently forth, filling your senses and thoughts, like mist rolling softly into the sealed chamber. And focus on the chimes. The chimes coaxes you deeper into the memory, and you're certain it is a memory, a warm one. You are on the stone of the plateau, your knees on the warm texture of the ground, silver white shimmering like ardra. The plateau is formed of it glistening in the sun. You can feel the heat on your skin, your wrists and your hands. Your hands are in motion, weaving not thread but gathering tenderly, moving along the first movements of brass wield. Your hands are wet, your hands are upon the flesh of a newborn child, and you can feel the crowning of the tiny head turning into the grip, its head slick wet from the womb. The hands you are wearing inhabiting inhabiting have done this many times, and they are practiced and confident. You feel the distant pains in your own head as the head emerges, a stream of fluid from the womb, helping the newborn slide forth, and a woman's labored breathing crying out. Focus on the child, the movement of your hands. As your hands move, you hear the sound of chimes, clear, cutting through the haze of the memory. You cannot see where they are coming from, but they are close, and they are meant as a comfort, as that you are certain. Draw the child forth. And coaxed by your hands, every movement causing the chimes to sound again. Almost eagerly, the child comes forth, and as it does, your hands are in motion, weaving, moving along with the length of a soft, wet rope. Now an umbilical cord from the legs of the naked woman before you. You are holding a small child, still wet from the womb before you. The child cries out, its cry full of life, full of soul, the ringing of chimes echoing in its thoughts, filling it with its welcome. The soul is blurred at the edges, as if you are viewing a soul from within a soul, but it is there, it is alive. The woman before you is weeping, and her first cry, her hands reach out for it. Surrender the child. You surrender the child to something you have done many times before, and as your hands move, the chimes echo in movement, and you realize the chimes are hanging from the cords on your wrists, and where once they echoed in memory, they are now echoing in the child's mind as well. The chimes are intended to welcome the child, to be its first gentle greeting into the world. A soothing sound, guided by the tender motions of your wrists. You are helping to weave its thoughts, its perception and experience. The woman laughs with a ragged joy, laughing from the parched throat. Her emotion seems soothed, but the physical demands of labor have left her exhausted. But the child is here, the child is safe, and all atop the plateau is peaceful, calmness, and flattening out as the memory persists. Slowly pull back, retreat from the memory. With effort, the scene bleeds of color, and your mind becomes your own again. The grieving mother stands silently before you. She seems unaware of what you've seen or what you've entered her memories at all. I have walked in your dreams, and I believe your memories. A mixture of curiosity and fear wells up between you. She raises her left hand, and chiming and nervous squealing, the rise within her. She is frightened but curious. Curiosity anchors her.
What did you see in my memories? I would hear you speak of them.
The dream, the memory I saw upon meeting you. It was you helping give birth to a child. There is a silence, and as your breath falls still, you hear the faint cry of a child in the distance, a newborn child, almost exactly like what you heard in the dream. As you listen, the grieving mother raises both her hands, as if weaving, her wrist chiming as she does so, in a semblance of the gentle turning she provided while the newborn was crowning. To your surprise, you recognize the motions and the words from the memory, even as they are new to you. As she weaves her hands through the air in front of her, the child cries, grow still, yet the sound of the chimes weaves almost hypnotically into your thoughts. The sky seems sharp and clear, and you feel as if you are towering over the surrounding, as if kneeling atop a great pillar, just as she did in the memory. To your surprise, the grieving mother falls as if her strings were cut, and her knees crack hard against the ground. Her hands never cease moving in the air, with the chimes echoing her movement. In a ragged voice you hear her speak. The voice is that of an older woman than the one before you, harsh, almost.
Tell me what you saw. Show me what you saw. Where were you?
Her eyes, not terribly sharp and real, affirmed with white like ardor. Where were you? A mountain edge, I think. It was high up snow, I think. A huge forest stretching off. A huge forest stretching out beneath a huge rock. As she kneels before you on the ground, she whispers to you hoarsely, and even fainter with a distance between you.
Stone of the plateau. Its color. Tell me its color.
It was silver ardra, its surface warmed by the sun. As you watch her hands rise before you, she clasps them, then cups them, as if feeling them for the first time, understares down into the cradle of her hand, and the chimes sound once, twice as they swing with the movement.
And what did these hands hold?
I'm not sure. There was a child you were bringing forth, and your hands, I don't recall. There is a sudden intake of breath and then a release. Her eyes blur close, forming into slits, but in the brief glimpse you have her changing expression. The rippling pain in her features seem to have smoothed. She swallows once, twice, and then you feel her once again in your thoughts, her grasping husk of voice swallowed and drawn within her.
It was the birthing bell you saw. Has it been so long? Have I forgotten so much?
With the words come a river of impulse thoughts, as if loose from a breaking dam. And as your mind grabs the impulse into words, you realize it is her muscles and her hardened thoughts relaxing and breathing again. There is such intensity you lost. You almost want to step back from the flow, but you find their way to impulse cause questions to float to the surface. Among them is the name Watcher. What is a birthing bell?
It is a plateau formed of the spirit stone Audra. At its top is set a great bell, cradled in the reaching arm of the plateau. It stirs in the wind, and it sounds for leagues when struck by kith hands. In distant times, the great bell served as a Glanfathan watchtower, perhaps. Why they abandoned it, I do not know. Other men came in time, settlers, and claimed the tower as their own. I, in turn, claimed it from them. The pillar became a cradle where I could draw new souls into the world.
Your memory, were you helping a woman give birth?
Yes. Yet, I believe you only saw a small part of the birthing ritual. It is not all in a moment, nor in a day. It is a journey of many years between the child, the mother, and I.
Can you tell me about the birthing ritual?
The ritual was one of many steps. It took many tens of years to carve them, but always the child's thoughts were there to guide me from the moment it began to awaken, to the 3 seasons within the mother, to the birthing day, and the years to follow. The child's thoughts, that is where it began. The expectant mother, I could often sense her thoughts, and those of her child, before she could. I would soothe her, free her from the panic of questions. I would sound the memory of the birthing bell atop the plateau in her mind, letting the memory of the vibrations fill my thoughts and hers. Often, the child's soul could hear it too, so the sound of the bell echoed in the mother's thoughts.
You sense the mother's thoughts? Sharing memories and thoughts can bond lives together, as can hardships, and most of all, the sharing of what is family, what is familiar. The bell itself provided shelter for such thoughts, opportunities to see deep into the crevice, hollows in the rock where one could find shelter, clefts where you could feel the ardor all around you. As she speaks, you feel your legs bent, crossed, and the warmth of walls around you, the blankets woven thick beneath you. Such shared images can bond souls even tighter and allow them to draw strength from each other. You mentioned the ritual lasted years. What would happen after the birth? Once the pain is channeled away and the mother and child breathe again, I sound the birthing bells on the wrist and allow the mother to hear the child's thoughts. The ringing echoes in each other's thoughts. The bells open the way between them. Let her feelings pass into the newborn and let her feel the child in return. And when the feelings meet, that is when I weave another memory and leave it tied in their minds. But these bells play an important role in the birthing process. Yes, and for years after I gave it, said to the child after delivery, it is a reminder of the memory of the memory the mother and child shared. You feel an odd sensation of warmth and you can feel as well being shared, then it flickers and it is gone. As the bells coaxed the child's forth, so they accompany the child onwards, fastening about the wrists to care for him and the mind and body. There is no magic in it except for the magic of practicality. If a child sought to leave their cradles or escape the cribs, the mother could know through the warning of the chimes along. At times, if the bond was strong, so would I. The sensation of a smile comes again, slower, more knowing between you. If not watched children, much trouble may be had from their tiny hands. The chimes are kept until the child needs them no longer. When I no longer can hear them sounding in my mind, I know their spirit has changed, and the bonds we shared are long gone. The shedding might last many years, or but a few, but it is necessary. You watch over these children for years after their births. Children are fragile things, even the ties of blood and mind may not be enough they must be watched, and even then the body may fail the mind, but if watched, even the most sickly child may cling to life if determined enough, and many of the souls were tied to me. If the child's spirit failed, I could sound the chimes in their mind and grant them strength, even from afar. It did not always serve, but it gave hope. It sounds like you've seen tragedy too, enough to never wish to feel again. In the times before the bells, children who died were cast up upon the waters of the lake beyond the bell, sometimes while alive. If their past and futures were deemed weak, it was a different time. Children were treated carelessly. Those times are past. I have other questions about the birthing bell. Oh, fuck. Why would you give a telling of a child's spirit?
Many would come seeking their child's future, or a reading into the child's past, the lives its soul is said to have lived. Such things are not mine to see. I meant no offense.
You're frightened something about watchers. As the thought of watcher crosses your mind, you feel a sharp pain stabbing and the sudden burn of lashes across your back and shoulder, and then it's gone, and you feel the grieving mother before your silent, almost fearful
I
way.
was something else, but because the title Watcher was cast on me, the word carried a weight I had neither earned nor deserved. The world seems filled with such titles. They distract, I think, from the actions of the person, from their strengths.
Why did you believe you were a watcher?
The world has many corners, and in some corners the name Watcher is more known. It is an easier title than others, and at times it is easier to wear. Placing a title upon what is unknown can dispel the fear of it, and I did not fight it. I even believed it true, though I knew little of the ways of Watchers. It even granted me strength. I was able to see the thoughts of others, shape them, and help guide souls. Watcher seemed enough, and the name seemed to matter little in the light of one's acts.
But if they came to you to read their child's souls, what did you tell them?
I drew upon the present. I felt the soul of the mother before me, and used that to tell the child's path, to give it a voice. If only the thoughts of the mother and the emotions that lie beneath were mine to impart. I did, and so I used that as the telling of their child's future.
And if it turned out to be untrue?
Futures fulfilled by one's own spirit are as strong as anything seen by another's eyes. And if one draws from the emotion of the mother, it matters only when harm is done. And their lives I knew well. I could weave their lives, their thoughts over time, to the mother, to the child, and once the child had been born, was sheltered, I could relax the threads of thought until the child could stand on its own.
So you shaped their thoughts, made their readings true.
This is my calling, to show them the life I see before them, and even greater, make them believe it.
That is not what a watcher does. We do not shape minds, we see them as they are.
Even the most strongly worded tells may not be enough to save a child and allow it to be born. If I have the strength to strip away the stem of a mother's spite to expose kindness, weave nurturing from disdain and neglect, then that is my calling. And with the weight of Watcher behind my thoughts, these tells gain strength. Strength I never possessed on my own. They believed. And what they believed became the truth. With each child that was set upon that path, the title of Watcher became stronger. You must understand, without such weight upon my words, many lives would have been lost, drowned, cast in the lake beyond the bell. Now the trail to the lake is lost and reclaimed by the forest, as was meant. A Watcher was not there to look over us, but it was a Watcher that saved them. And with a Watcher's strength, children were born, were cared for, and grew strong.
To inflict your will on other, that is not the reading, that is control.
What use is a frightened will when a spirit is at stake? Would you let the fears of a mother end her newborn's life? You felt it in the memory, the weight of it, the importance of the child's life. It was a memory we shared.
Did we share that memory, or did you inflict it on me? And suddenly there's a rasping cry across your consciousness. She raises her hand, and you see the chimes drape from them, yet they make no sound as she moves.
A greater good was done, and children were saved. It is a choice you may be forced to make one day, and when faced with it, you will make the same one.
Yes, I'm certain I
That
will.
is good, Watcher.
I want to discuss something different. I heard the name Watcher in your thoughts when you remember the birthing bell. Why?
It is because I once believed I was one, and others believed I was one.
But we had this conversation with her. There is another name for someone with your abilities. I see the world, the word cipher in your mind, and see the meaning, and see its meaning, although I did not train in such things, and the title feels more like a cloak and the world casts on me and judges for me. It is curious how a title such as that can define one, and at times be the source of such emotions that comes from one, but other voices of others, it is a curse of the world. Do you know anything about Watchers? I feel that way, that they were once marked, hated, such as hate feel dimmed now. I can feel it. Other hatreds have risen for other titles, but they burned bright in the past. Now hates have shifted focus, and they may fall on the same again, either you or me. I believe that's all. Oh, fuck it.
Sure. Hey there.
Okay, I think that's going to be it for today, guys. Thank you for watching. We will hopefully wrap Pillars of Eternity 1 up in the next episode or 2. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode and have a fantastic day.